Hey everyone, today I'm doing a wrap-up review of my July Silk and Sonder Planner. Now I did a review of this at the beginning of the month, sort of a flip through what I thought, but now that I've actually used a good bit of it, I wanted to walk through what went well and maybe some things that I would change for next time. So here is my after the planner review of the July Silk and Sonder. So first things first, I will say that there are a few things that I didn't use, but that is totally fine. I have a planner that I use for more of, I guess you could say, scheduling, like appointments and things like that. So this planner, the intention for it is more reflection and habits and thinking about things versus actually putting calendar items in here. So if you look at this planner, for example, I put a little note to postpone, cancel my subscription for this because I don't use a Silk and Sonder planner every single month. But if you look at the July overview, you've noticed that I don't have a bunch of plans in here. So I don't sit down and put down my appointments and things like that in there. I reserve those sort of things for my main planner because I just don't need it in that many places. So I didn't really use that, but I will say that even though I didn't use the future log, it is nice to have that in case you want to take a look at what the rest of the year looks like. That can be really beneficial, especially when you get to the holidays. So didn't use those things a ton, but as I go forward to the June reflection and the July intentions, I really was happy that I did those. So in June, I looked at June wins, June hiccups, my favorite moments, and what do I want to start, stop, and continue. And just writing things down was so helpful for me. So with my wins, I talked about seeing some friends and family members get promotions and interviews after I worked on their resume. I feel like I do everyone's resume. It's sort of become like a hobby side job. I just really love resumes, and I love how you can craft them and create them to take somebody's kind of like entire life and work experience and put it down on paper to showcase them in a really great light, and then they go apply for something and all their dreams come true. I mean, I wish it were that simple, but honestly, when I do my resume work and I see other people get success from it, it like really solidifies why I do it and that I'm doing a good job with it. So that was a huge win for me. We also have made some progress with our house. It is going slower than I would like for it to go, but it is progress. So that was a win. And we were taking some evening walks. So that was a nice part of June that hasn't been part of July. I looked yesterday at, I mean, it's August now, but I looked yesterday at my phone and the heat index here in Florida was 108 degrees. And you know how people are always like, it's not the heat that gets you, it's the humidity. At this point, it's everything. So like, I haven't been able to enjoy that. So I'm glad I wrote down that I did that because it feels like forever since I've been able to just like leisurely stroll in the evenings around the neighborhood. As far as hiccups, I was feeling just totally drowning in screens, which is like always a problem for me. I hate to admit that, but constantly on computers, phones, just like always in front of my face, which is, you know, a lot of my own doing. But writing that down helped me set a goal for July, which I will tell you about in a moment. And then my favorite moment was, it was my birthday and I went to a restaurant for the first time, in an indoor restaurant for the first time in over a year. And now that it's August and it was the July planner and I'm reflecting on June, it's really kind of like sad to see how far backwards we've gone because I don't think I would go to an indoor restaurant right now. But in that moment, it felt like progress, which was just a really great feeling because it's been just such a disappointing, challenging year in a lot of different ways. And so going was just like really fun. And we just went to the Cheesecake Factory and my husband was like, are we both gonna get cheesecake or are we gonna split it? And I was like, we haven't been to this place in like years. We're definitely not I am not sharing cheesecake with you, okay? So just thinking about that, my birthday, that was like a nice moment. And then I don't really feel like I had that many hard moments in June, like nothing that was like, you know, specific and noteworthy enough to put in my planner. But what do I wanna start, stop, and continue less time on my phone and to continue some professional development from LinkedIn Learning. So I have started just kind of teaching myself some different things in some different areas, and I have loved LinkedIn Learning. It's like 30 bucks a month. So I did the free trial and then I paid for it for 1 month and I was like, okay, you're gonna need to take a break here. But really great classes, like super up to date. So I like that. And then my phone, that was just, yeah, like I said, I'll get to that in a minute, but that was a really good goal that I'm glad that I set for myself. For my July intentions, I didn't necessarily set super specific goals, but just rather general intentions. So for spiritual health and personal life, work on finding positives in challenging moments. Sometimes when things feel really difficult, I'm just kind of like, everything feels difficult. So trying to find, like, in those moments, not everything is really hard, just find those positives. And I'm all about, like, it's okay to not be okay and to have your moment. But for me, it's easier for me when I'm like reminded that not everything is super challenging, maybe just a few aspects are. So that was something I wanted to focus on. I wanted to move more and more frequently in terms of my physical health, and with my key relationships, I just want to spend more quality time with people. For money management, I wrote keep on keeping on, because my husband and I have a lot of things going on right now with our finances in terms of the house. So it's like we're putting money in this pocket and we're putting money in that pocket because we need this for the down payment. And the long story made very short is that we bought a condo in 2012, which we have since sold, and everything was fine with it, but we wanted to be more financially responsible and put down a bigger down payment this time. And so organizing that and then trying to save money for when you move, because like all of a sudden you've spent $400 because you needed 3 ceiling fans. Like, we're trying to prep for that since we know that's going to happen. So for money management, we have lots of goals and we're working towards a lot of things. So it was nothing additional this month, just keep on in the direction that we're moving. And then lastly, my professional goals, I wanted to update my LinkedIn and update my resume. Not that I am actively searching for a job, but I have always been under the mindset that you should always keep those things up to date. Next, I did my mood tracker and my habit tracker, and look how good these look. Isn't that so fun? I like that. So I think what I liked most about this with the mood tracker is that it forced me to not just color in a little bubble and be like, how was I feeling today? I asked myself why I was feeling that way. So our sweet little darling toddler has had quite a bit of a sleep. I wouldn't even call it a regression, but it was like the whole month of July and it was so brutal. And so I see a lot of days where it was like, oh yeah, like you were frazzled in those days. That's probably where you weren't getting a ton of sleep, or just trying to figure out her sleep schedule. So we're definitely in a much better place now, but seeing how your day-to-day life and your routines and things that are happening impact your mood, really insightful. And I didn't do a mood tracker of like 1 was the best and 6 was the worst. I actually put adjectives to describe how I was feeling so I could look back, because a 3 would be like, okay, so you felt fine that day. That doesn't really tell me anything. But the words I used were peaceful, productive, joyful, frazzled, and defeated. And I do notice that a lot of times productive, sometimes if I was feeling 2 things in one day, I would color 2 colors. Productive went along a lot with joyful or peaceful, because I feel like when I get stuff done, I don't need to be running around like crazy, but when I get stuff done, it's definitely a feeling of peace and calm. So that was really insightful. And I also did a habit tracker. I remembered my vitamin every single day. I did my planner every single day, and I cleaned something every day. So that was really good. In terms of fitness, I could have done a little bit better with that. I think I had about 15 days where I exercised for 30 minutes or more. And then when I looked at practicing some things that I was learning, I mentioned LinkedIn learning. I'm trying to learn a little bit more about instructional design. It's something that as a former teacher has always interested me, how people learn, how companies train people. I think it's really interesting. So I started the month strong, but then as things got more challenging with Penny's sleep, I definitely took a little break there. So it's nice to see how habits are forming so that you can, as the month ends, even if you're not going to be using a habit tracker this intense for the next month, it can remind you, hey, things started off strong, they didn't end as well. So make sure you keep an eye on that if that's something that you want to be consistent with for the next month. I didn't use the sleep tracker, but I did use the courage log a little bit. So the courage log, the goal is to write down one brave or courageous thing that you did for yourself every single day. And so instead of like trying to find and like be like, I guess that was courageous, I was like, look, if you don't have something every day, or you can't think of something, don't force yourself. But I tried out something new on a computer, which is like, I was pretty proud of myself because it was software I was unfamiliar with. So I was really proud of that. I'm looking at some different things. I went to the dentist. I hate going to the dentist. The key to going to the dentist is being the hygienist's last appointment on a Friday before she wants to go to Target, buy herself a bikini, and go on the lake with her friends for the weekend. I'm not exaggerating about that. I hate going to the dentist. I went and she was like, you're my last appointment of the day. Everyone else canceled and I'm leaving after you. And I was like, great, because I hate being here. So let's just wrap this thing up. And she was like, great. It was a very honest conversation, but I was really proud of myself that I went, because it's not my favorite thing to do, so sometimes I tend to avoid it. So that was courageous. Went to the movies a couple times, which I was really, really proud of, just because I get nervous. My mom comes over and she's amazing, but I'm like, I don't want to leave my crying baby with you. Not because I don't trust you, not because you can't handle it, because I feel bad for you to listen to her. But it was really nice to be able to go on a little date. My mom watched her one night and then my mom and sister watched her another. So it was really fun to go on 2 dates this month. I was really grateful for that. And then lastly, this is the internet, so you don't want to divulge every little piece piece of personal information, but like last month in the middle of July, an opportunity in an aspect of my life was presented to me that wasn't gonna be a good fit, and I said no. And I'm really proud of myself for that. I think that took a lot of courage, because sometimes in life we try to like fit the, what is it, the round peg in the square hole, or is it the square peg in the round hole? Regardless, you get my point. We try to make things work that wouldn't necessarily work, and I think sometimes it takes courage to say no. So I said no to something, and yeah, that felt really good, saying no. So I don't know if you've said no to anything recently, but if you need to, I highly encourage it. I didn't finish my Wheel of Life, womp womp. I gave myself a 9 for education, because I have been doing a lot of continuing education lately. I was happy with that. I'm feeling fulfilled in there. And I gave myself an 8 for financial and for my health, but that's it. I didn't really go any further than that. I would like to finish that though. And I also didn't do the journaling exercises about courage. I love the topic of courage, but I guess I feel like I should have spent a little bit more time reflecting about it, because I don't necessarily feel like I have a ton on the topic to say, but maybe that's something that I would go back and do as well. Same for the courage letter and the courage exercises. I also started the coloring page and I didn't finish it. It's cute, but like it would take forever to do this little hair situation here. So maybe if I have some extra time in August, I'll sit down and do that. My favorites activity was fun. I started it, I didn't finish it. So just some questions like, am I an early bird or a night owl? Which I am an early bird more than a night owl. We don't have any pets, just, just some fun questions in here, but I didn't necessarily finish it. So again, maybe something I'll finish next month if I have time. So that's pretty much it for the reflection part of the journal. Now it goes more into the logistics of, it kind of looks like a regular planner in this regard. You've got your weekly layout, you've got your goals and all of that. So I didn't use the monthly expense tracker, but I did put a few things down. So like one week I put down our meal plan, even though I tend to put it on the fridge. I just was like, let me just try, I'll just put it in the planner. And then as I flipped through, I did a couple of different like spreads. So for 1 week, I did my list, which was really fun. Under Dream Big, I did my focus of the week for our anniversary trip in December that we're hoping to take, which I don't know if we'll be able to go, but we'll see. So it was fun to do a weekly layout with some goals and some to-dos, some habits, which are pretty similar to what's in the habit tracker, but also a meal plan, my workout, my shopping list. So it was just fun to actually lay out the whole week. I wound up not really using the habit tracker just because I really was using the main habit tracker, but I think that the weekly layout can be really good for you if it's something that you're looking for. And that's it. That is my July planner, and that is honestly how I used it. I probably could have used it a lot more, but I also could have just forgotten about it and used it a lot less. So I think what's important with this type of planner, since it's so much about reflection and doing those activities and working through it, more so than a normal planner where you would just go in and write your activities, your schedule, your obligations, whatever, I think it's important to set time out each day, 5 to 10 minutes, to make sure you're completing those activities. And if there's an activity in there that you don't want to do, doesn't apply to you, no one is forcing you. So I just really, really like this. I don't think I would do this every month. I know I wouldn't do this every month, but I have mentioned, I think it was in the other Silk and Sonder Planner video, and I think these are good to do quarterly or throughout the year. Maybe if you need to prep for the holidays, if you're kind of feeling in a rut, if it's the new year and you want to set some goals, this is a great planner. So anyway, if you are interested, I'll put my code and link below if you want to order. You can always pause yours, which is what I do. I definitely don't want to pay each month for this if I'm not going to be using it for the entire month. So that is one thing that I really like about the company, that you don't have to sign up and get them every single month. So if you enjoyed this, if you're using a Silk and Sonder planner, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.